Grief takes a toll on your mind, your body, your relationships, everything. The thought of endless months and years without the one you love is overwhelming. The thought of everyone else going back to their lives while you're still sitting there in the wreckage is overwhelming. The reality is just too big to let in. For many people, continuing to wake up each morning is a disappointment. Like, damn, I'm still alive. Thoughts like that make perfect sense. Feeling like you'd rather not wake up in the morning is normal in grief, and it doesn't mean you're suicidal. Not wanting to be alive is not the same thing as wanting to be dead. It's hard to tell non-grieving people that, though, as people understandably get worried about your safety. And because people tend to get upset when we talk about not wanting to be alive, we just stop talking about it altogether. And that's dangerous. There's a reality here inside intense grief that we need to talk about directly. Sometimes you do not care one bit whether you live or die. Not because you're actively suicidal, but because you simply don't care. There are moments inside grief when it seems easier to just be reckless, to let death happen, a sort of daring the universe to pick you off. Sometimes you don't care one bit about your own safety. I know. All those encouragements from others about having so much to live for, that there's still goodness to come in your life, they feel irrelevant. They kind of are irrelevant. You can't cheerlead yourself out of the depths of grief. Survival in early grief is not about looking toward the future. It's not about finding something that lights you up or gives you a reason for living. It just doesn't work like that. Because those ordinary encouragements about the value of life are irrelevant, you'll need to find other ways to navigate those extra intense times when grief threatens to overtake you. My most intense moments of rather be dead feelings usually came while I was driving on the highway. What kept my hands on the wheel in those I don't care about myself moments was knowing I didn't want to create another me. I kept driving or stopped driving because I didn't want to risk harming someone else. I wouldn't chance creating another widow. I didn't want to mess up someone else's life or cause anyone else any pain by creating an accident scene that they had to clean up. Not wanting to create more pain for someone else was a strong enough motivation to make safer choices. I also had a pact with a fellow widow. When we had those moments of overwhelming pain, we drew on the promise we made to each other to stay alive, to not be reckless. It wasn't because the future was going to be so much better eventually, but because we didn't want to cause each other more pain. We needed each other. We needed to know that the other relied on us. Our love and commitment to each other got us through some seriously terrible times. There's a range inside grief from simply not wanting to be here to being seriously tempted to stop being here. Feeling less than psyched about being alive is normal. It's important to have at least one person in your life to whom you can be honest about your disinterest in survival. Telling the truth can take some of that pressure off. No matter how intense it gets, practice safety first. Please stay alive. Do it for yourself if you can. Do it for others if you must. Feeling like you'd rather not wake up in the morning is very different from thinking about actually harming or killing yourself. If you're thinking about harming yourself, please reach out for help. There are people who have been where you are. Survival can be 1 minute at a time. If you need help to make it through, please contact the Suicide Prevention Helpline in your local area. Most countries have national support lines, and help is always available anywhere there's internet access.